Hello, and welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Unmasking Your True Self. I'm Elisa Bogarts, your guide on this journey to discovering the most genuine version of yourself. Each episode is a step towards unveiling the incredible power that lies within you as we strip away all the shoulds and shine a light on the coulds. Together, we'll explore the path of self-empowerment, self-confidence, and the courage to be unapologetically you. Thank you for being here. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking about work-life balance and becoming better leaders. You're going to be getting some strategies to go from chaos to calm. And today, I have an amazing guest with me, Patti Oskvarek. Patti is a certified professional coach and certified master coach specializing in work-life balance and leadership coach, a Reiki Master, and a podcaster. Patti inspires others to pursue their passions in life through their relationships, career, business, and leadership development. She became a coach and Reiki practitioner to help people follow their hearts, use their talents, and live purposefully balanced and fulfilling lives. Welcome, Patti.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. So tell me about, sort of how you got into this field of work and why you're just so passionate about what you do.
Well, I was at a networking meeting. This was a few years ago. And I had given a presentation, and this lady came up to me and she goes, "You should be a coach." And at the time, I had no idea what a coach was. And she was saying, like, a business coach. And I started researching about coaching, and one of my acquaintances put me in touch with a business coach, and she gave me some ideas on how to do it. And then I thought, I want to be a leadership coach. And the reason why I wanted to be a leadership coach at the time was I could have used a coach when I was a manager and supervisor. And I thought, oh, that would be so helpful to people to know, to be able to talk to somebody about things that are going on that they can't talk to in the workplace or at home. And people get tired of, their spouses get tired of hearing them, talk
Right.
about work, and just somebody that can give them tips or just listen, or strategies that worked for them and didn't work for them, and just having somebody there that holds you accountable and also listens and knows what you're going through. So that was how I got into leadership coaching. And then the work life balance, I was one of those people that didn't have any work-life balance. So I want to help people be able to live a wonderful life and not work 24/7, but still be successful. So that's how I became the two together. And where the
Amazing.
Reiki fits in is I'm a unique coach. I also help them with their stress. And Reiki is energy healing, which helps relax you. When you get into a relaxed state, you're more you're more calm,
Mhm.
and things come to you, solutions come to you and things like that, and it also heals your body. So if you're in a burnout mode, it helps you to relax and heal your body and take a few minutes to really slow down and be calm. So that's
Nice.
how I got into what I do now.
Love it. To go back to the leadership coaching, it makes me so happy that you're in this world and doing that because I just feel it's so necessary because I have had some terrible bosses and I think that maybe some of them weren't, bad people in any way, but they were maybe just very stressed out or they hadn't been trained properly or so I think they could have hugely benefited from having somebody to talk about it with. And I think you're so right. I think that like I've had it with friends, that are in a bad place at work. And every time I would see them, they would just sort of vent to me about their work and being a little bit empathic myself, just like absorbing the energy. I remember just always being like, oh, like I guess it's a lot. Like, is she like, can we not talk about this anymore? I can't like take that
Yeah.
on anymore. But of course, I'm like, I want to be there for them. But sometimes if they're just like, rah, 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 just so sort of like kind of venting, it can too much all the time can be too much. So I think you're entirely right that sometimes the spouse can only do that for so long before it starts to take a toll on life and the relationships, which also kind of leads into the work-life balance that you were talking about as well, right? It's kind of hard to have work-life balance when you bring your work into your life like that, and it can affect your life directly.
Right. And a lot of leaders and managers and supervisors, they're working 24/7. So it's taking that time out away from work. And also, a lot of times they don't have a spouse, they don't have a partner, they don't have friends, they don't have a pet, they have no hobbies because they're working 24/7. And
Yeah.
let's change that and
Yes.
realize that your job's not going to be there forever. And what's going to happen when you're told to retire and work spend your life? You need to
Mhm.
incorporate other things into your life. And are you truly happy? And it's bringing that happiness, finding things other than work that you can enjoy, whether it's reading, taking a walk,
Yes.
spending time with your family and friends. How many times do people say, "Oh no, I got to work," instead of go out for coffee with somebody?
Right. Yes.
It's
And when
taking
you
those moments.
Yeah, yeah, and when you even think about that, like, okay, I wanna have this work-life balance, I don't want work to take over my life anymore. How do I do that authentically? Who am I
Yeah.
now? Like, who like, what do I want? What are my hobbies? So, tell me what sort of authenticity means to you and how you kinda help people with kind of.
It's saying no to the things that you don't want to do,
Mm,
letting go of those things that you don't want to do so that other people can take on those challenges and learn from. It's scheduling your vacation and actually going through with it, scheduling it months before and doing it because you've become a much nicer person and a better leader and a better human being by taking time away from work.
yeah, absolutely, and
Delegating. Yeah.
I love that, and also, like, 'cause I found as well, like, being in corporate environment for so long that there's and actually, when I worked in software development, there was like, well, there are certain busy times of the year, they don't necessarily let anybody take vacation. And it's like,
Mhm.
no, it's like a blackout period. And for people to, to kind of have to work their vacation around that, but then to actually do it because there's never gonna be a good time, especially if you work on something that's, like, project-based. The project gets delayed, so you're like, "I'll go after the project's done," but then it gets delayed, and then something happens, and months later, and and you reschedule, and it's like, there may never be a good time, so, like, yeah, exactly what you said. Do it months in advance, talk to your management, being like, "I'm doing this anyway," right? And, like, "This is happening," and do it because
Yeah.
you just never know.
Book it, get everything, your flights, your hotel, everything scheduled so that and block it out on your calendar. That's
And you're
the
entitled
only
to it.
way you're entitled to it. And that's
Yeah.
the only way it's going to happen. And it's just like schedule time with friends, put it on your calendar, block it out. If your kids have a soccer game or something, block it out on your calendar. Take that hour. You really need to do that for you and for your family and friends and coworkers. If you're at your desk all the time, take time out and walk away from that desk, whether it's
Mhm.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Get away. You'll be a much happier person to be around.
Yes, for sure. And even with yourself too. I know sometimes when I'm like in that state, not only do I like not really want to be around myself because I'm like, oh, I don't love the person I'm being right now. But then I also usually have regrets afterwards. So, something that conversation that maybe didn't go so well, or something that I said, or I was like snappy or something like that. I'm like, oh, and then that just causes more stress and overwhelm. Because, like that just kind of like on top of everything else that you're doing.
Right. I mean, there were so many times if I could turn back the clock and do things differently, I would have. But I learned from those things and it was a life lesson. And that
Yeah.
makes us also a better person is by learning from our mistakes.
Yeah.
So
So talking about those life lessons, give me strategies on how, maybe our listeners can move from that chaos to calm and kind of have this work-life balance and yeah. Do you have any
Right.
strategies you can share?
So, like we talked about, say no to things that you don't want to do and say yes to things that you do. When you say no or you remove things and let things go, you're creating openness to learn new things or do things that you truly enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Delegate tasks. People want to learn things and let them learn. By you giving them that task, they're going to enjoy it. They're learning something new, and it gives you the freedom and opportunities for other things. And just taking those 5 minutes, 10 minutes of peace and calm is so important. It's good for your soul, it's good for you, and it's good for you to be around others. And you can be authentically you. Sometimes when we're in the middle of chaos, it's bringing out the worst of us,
Yes.
not the best of us. So taking those time out helps us
Uh,
be us, the true us, the kind, the compassionate, the empathetic person. We're both empathetic and we take in everything. And that even makes it harder on us because we're taking in all of that chaos, even of other people. And we have to walk away because
mm,
if we don't, then we become somebody that we don't like to become. And then we're harder on ourselves because we lashed out or we yelled or
yeah, I got frustrated or
we
something like that.
frustrated or we said something that we didn't want to say because we were in that moment of chaos.
I remember, like I actually feel like thinking back at it, I feel so lucky to have had this. But in my one work environment, it was kind of a strange environment. Like there was parts of it that were like toxic and not so great. Other parts of it that were like great. Like I still have friends that I hang out with now. Like they're wonderful people. And so it was like this kind of crazy combo. And just like a block away from the office was this little Japanese garden. So actually, it was like from the outside, it looked like a walled building. And then inside, it had water and it had koi fish in there and it had these little paths and all these like lilies and and all these like trees and it was just like it only took maybe like 2 minutes to walk around or something, but and it was just this little piece of heaven, this little oasis that was just right there. And so sometimes when yeah, during that chaos, it was just like, I just need 5 minutes. And I could literally like walk across the street and go walk around. And it was quiet and it was calm. And there were other people just quietly walking. And it was just this little so calming to me. And I could, like maybe listen to music or some calming music or just walk in silence just to kind of be mindful and bring myself back to me and like and it was like this little reset. And so I know that probably everyone maybe listening doesn't have that amazing little oasis so close to them that but sometimes you can find that in sort of anything, even if it's just walking around the block or going sitting in a quiet room or something.
And some of the things that I would do is I would listen to calming music in my office and I would take a walk and say affirmations.
I love
And
affirmations.
that helped because it changes, it resets your mindset to think of positive things that are going on. And also it helps open you up to relax
Right,
from,
because if you go on this little break, but you're ruminating and you're thinking about all you need to do or what that person just said, you're not actually taking a break. Sure,
right.
you've like removed yourself from the office or what have you, but you're not actually giving your mind and your stress levels a break. So so you need to actually detach from it.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
just replacing those words in your mind, that voice in your mind from thinking about whatever happened to affirmations, I think is like a perfect alternative. I love that. Do you have any other, oh yeah, I guess we're wrapping up our time soon here. Any other sort of strategies for moving from chaos to calm?
Journaling's another way.
Mm,
If you are having a really bad day, you can journal it on your in your journal and get rid of all the ugliness and all of the bad thoughts that you're feeling, and or brainstorm a solution. It really helps take you away. So if you take 5 to 10 minutes to journal about it, if you're journaling about the good, the bad, the ugly, after you're done, you can rip up the pages and shred it. But it helps release that chaos that you're feeling when you're journaling about what's going on. It can help anyone come up with different ideas, let things go, because you got it all out without saying it to somebody.
Yeah, yeah. And the wonderful thing about journaling is that you write slower than you think. So
Yes,
sometimes as you're writing it out, it kind of gives your brain some time to sort of like figure something out, and you can actually come up with ideas, and you can come up with solutions or like work through things because your brain's working through it as you're slowly writing. And so it kind of slows you down, but also allows your brain to work. And so you can think a little bit clearer. And it's also calming, like you were just saying as well, to actually, and that's almost like a way of doing a little break, isn't it? You could just sit down
yes.
and journal for 5 minutes. And usually I find if I journal for 5 minutes, it's like one page of paper. So if people are sort of new to journaling, it's not like pages and pages, you're gonna have a hand cramp or something like that. It's pretty much like an A4. Oh, well, thank you so much. So just to kind of recap of what we talked about how to really say no to things that you don't want to do, to take little breaks throughout your day. And when you take those breaks, make sure you actually give your brain a break as well. And a couple ways to do that could be through affirmations or even through journaling. Listening to some calming music is something I also really like to do. So, Patty, where can our listeners find you?
Yes, you can find me on my website, coachingforinspirationwithpatti.com. And Patty's spelled Patti.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. And I love that you have inspiration in your title as well. My company is Inspiration by Lisa. Here we are, both being inspirational to the world.
Yes, I love that.
And do you have any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
Just remember, when you're in chaos, take those deep breaths, walk away, take the 5 minutes out or 10 minutes out, whatever you need, because you'll be a much happier person and you won't have any regrets for making a mistake, saying something that you shouldn't, all of those things.
Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.